Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Facebook Live. My name is Celeste, and I'm with John Bayog, right there. Hi, John.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Oh, hi, everyone again. This is Celeste. Welcome to LEARNin Local Live in Massachusetts. We're here today. We're presenting a few people in the real estate field, Cliff and Eddie. I will be co-hosting with John. John, take it away.
Yes, hi, everyone. John Bayog. We're super excited to have Cliff and Eddie on this show today. The purpose of the show today is to educate and empower local real estate investors in Massachusetts. And so we're going to be talking to a real estate broker owner, and he's also an investor. And we're going to be talking to one of his contractors who helps him with some of the real estate work. I will be a co-host with Celeste. I am also a real estate broker and also an attorney. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add there, Celeste.
Oh, yeah. So my name is Celeste. I'm a real estate entrepreneur. I have a few rental properties, and like our guest, I've partnered with fix and flippers as well. And so I'm very excited to learn from them, their journey. They're more experienced than I, and so everything that I could learn from other people doing real estate longer than me is great. So can't wait to start.
Yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot today. I can't wait to pick Cliff's brains.
Mhm.
I know we'll get him on here for an introduction in a minute.
Yeah.
As far as my investing background goes, I don't currently have any rental properties. I've done some real estate wholesaling in the past, so that's like flipping contracts to purchase. I don't know if anyone's going to be familiar with that.
Yeah, I did wholesaling too. So
Yeah, I
I know what you're talking about. It's putting something under contract and
Yeah.
then selling it after. So that's typically how wholesaling typically does.
And you've only been in. I connected with Celeste earlier this morning, just to introduce ourselves, and it sounded like you had only been involved in real estate investing for less than 2 years, yet you are a part of many different real estate investor groups, and you're very active in the community already.
Yes, I try to learn as much as I can, learn from, I'm more of a doer. So make me watch something, make me read something. Yeah, I'll learn it, but I learn it by doing it. So I go out there, I be with the people, I go on sites and absorb everything. So that's how I learn. So I'm part of a huge community, which I want to share to everyone because it's really your net worth is your network. So you gotta know people. So if you want to fix and flip, you need to know lenders, you need to know contractors. If you want to buy properties like creatively, I need to know someone like you who knows real estate law and all that stuff. If I wanna if I need like power of attorneys or I need to put a property under an entity, I mean, okay, John is the guy for that. You can help me with it. So it's really like who you know in the business for you to be able to grow. So it's working with people, partnering with everyone. And this is what I like about this channel because we're connecting people, not just it started with just Filipinos, right? But we're expanding because we know that we have to network and learn from each other. So this is really a great channel for a lot of people because not all of us has YouTube, not all of us has IG. So when they come in, they talk about themselves, they give out their information. People would know where to go to get their information, so we can share it to other people. So that's what I like about this one.
Yeah. Real estate, as with like many other sales industries and businesses, it's all about developing relationships because people are going to they'll only work or do business with the people. I've heard this a million times. You probably heard it. You're going to do business with people you like, know, and trust. And so I think that's why this, coming live and doing these shows is so important, not only for the brokers, investors, other real estate professionals that we have on. But for the audience who's interested in real estate, interested in buying or selling or investing in real estate,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can kind of meet so many people um, from the comfort of their own homes and kind of
Mm-hmm.
get to know them a little bit, and then make up their own minds on whether they want to, call them and explore, develop a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it sounded like you were part of more than one real estate community. You've got a large network already. Um,
Yes, yes. Yeah. So it started, so my journey started with knowing zero about real estate into trying to research everything, because again, we wanna so I have a lot of kids. I have 4 kids, and then I wanted to make sure that I would have uh all the necessary stuff that I can to provide for them, right? So I started with bigger pockets, watch them and learn from them. And so it depends what strategy you want with real estate. There's so many things that you can do with real estate, so many ways to earn money from it. And so I just wanted to include myself and be in those rooms. So I am in Pace Morby's, Jerry Norton's, Jamel's, and I recently went to a multifamily mastermind, which is Tyler Devereaux, because that's something, because you always want to grow. So that's what I love about this. There's so many facets. There's no saturation. Everyone's always going to be needing a house, a place to stay. So that's why we started with Airbnbs, then co-living. Now we have a micro family is what we say. And so um yeah, it's just it's a very exciting field, and I'm so passionate about it because everyone can do it. I don't know anything about real estate coming in here, and
yeah, I
just
had I had a similar start. It was Bigger Pockets. This was like more than 10 years ago that got me into it.
Mhm.
That podcast was awesome. And it just got me interested. There, I heard some people talking about the BRRRR strategy and different ways of making money in real estate. And it was so interesting. And that
Right.
it's so cool that that's kind of what we're doing now. Maybe someone will listen to this. This is kind of like a
Hmm.
podcast or this, this show, and then they
Yeah.
might get interested. We might inspire them. Um,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and you and part of this is kind of like free education for the listeners. I know I'm familiar with all of those groups that you mentioned in those communities, and I know that they are not free. Some of those programs cost a lot of money to become a member. But what you're doing is you're investing in your education. You're investing in your real estate education, becoming
Yeah.
more literate in real estate. And I'm sure, and it
Exactly.
sounds like it's paid off for you. Um,
Yeah, it's like going to school, right? It's like so we are, so you're a lawyer. Obviously, you went to a lot of schooling and everything. I didn't even finish college. I had like a half as a semester before we moved from the Philippines to here. So I didn't finish my college. And then moving here, I had to work because I'm the only breadwinner in our family when we came to Canada. So I'm from Canada. I married a Bostonian. So that's my story. That's why I ended up in Boston. But from the Philippines to Canada, I wasn't able to finish my school because I have to work, right? Even if I only have half of the semester to graduate my psychology degree, I wasn't able to finish that. So coming in real estate, there's like, even if you finish school or you didn't finish school, um, you can do it. I mean, you would have more networking because you would know a lot of lawyers and stuff. And those are most of the investors that we have because they have money in the bank. They don't know what to do with it, right? And then you get taxed from it a lot. So you want to buy a property so that, there's so many tax benefits to owning a rental property and to owning a business. So that's one part that I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta, be in that, space. But coming in from not finishing college and being able to have a few rental properties and partnering with people that has a great portfolio. So it's something that if I can do it, anyone can, as long as you put your hard work into it. So yeah.
yeah. We're always going to be learn. We're always going to be learning. This is like that's the beauty of it, and that's what we're doing here today. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's
Exactly.
time that we introduce our featured guests.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Cliff Hyppolite, real estate broker from the South Shore. I'm not going to get I'll let them introduce themselves, and then we've got Eddie Cornet, who's also involved in real estate. He's the contractor. Um, Thanks for coming on, Cliff and Eddie. I guess we'll give you a moment to introduce yourselves. Cliff, you can go first.
Good morning, John. So happy to be here with you guys. And, so my name is Cliff Hyppolite. I'm a broker owner. My office is in Quincy. I've been a realtor for about 10 years, investing for approximately 7 years. So I love what I do. I went from a W 2 job working full time to transitioning to my full time brokerage in 2020. I've been doing it for about 4.5 years now with the brokerage itself, but been in real estate, been licensed for about 10 years. So mainly I focus on fix and flips and multifamily properties. I own a multi right now and I rent out a condo as well for income. So coming into this, I just, number one, just like Celeste said, if anybody can do it, you know, not anyone can do it, but if you believe in yourself and you connect with the right people, you can do it because your network is really your net worth. And that's very important. But I've been doing the fix and flips for a little bit now. Eddie and I worked together on a few projects, and it's all about, having expectations met in the beginning, having a game plan, and being able to execute the game plan and problem solve to be successful with these projects.
Okay, thank you, Cliff. So we'll have Eddie. We'll have you shout out your business, introduce yourself, and then we'll get into some other questions for both of you. Go ahead, Eddie.
Hey guys, yes. So I'm Eddie Cornet, owner of Elite Trust Construction LLC. Um, we've been in business for about 10 years. Um, and yeah, I also went from a W-2, made the jump, to, work for myself. My father was a carpenter for 30 years. And it's funny because I ended up getting a really bad injury. I tore my Achilles um, training, and I couldn't work. So I started doing, paperwork for my father's business. And within that 9 months that I was, out of work, I didn't have uh, short-term disability. So I made money with my father doing the construction, and that 9 months I made more money than I was making at my job. So yeah, I was like, you know what? I think I might make this transition. I mean, it wasn't really smooth. A lot of work, but I don't regret it. And I love what I do, and right now we're pretty busy working with investors like Cliff. We're getting into the new construction game, so things are good.
Thank you, Eddie, for coming on here, and I look forward to getting to talk to you today. So coming up, I'm going to be asking Cliff and Eddie some questions about the retail side and Cliff's journey as a broker owner. So that's those will be kind of real estate sales related questions, and then I believe after that, Celeste has is it a case study that you want more towards the investing side that you were going to start talking about with Cliff? Is that right, Celeste?
Yeah. Yes.
And
Definitely.
and then before that, right now we've got the local opportunity of the week. Which Celeste, do you want to take the lead on it?
So the reason why we're here is because we wanted to make sure that we put our guests out there so people can reach out to them, let them know what you do, and um just really broaden the network that you have right now. Not everyone has YouTube, not everyone is on Instagram, but we have to have like a social presence out there. So we started local in Boston, in Massachusetts, but this live can be watched everywhere. So if you need to do fix and flip on other states and stuff like that, they have like a um you have like a digital footprint that they can watch and see like, oh, these guys are top notch, we want to connect with them, and this
Yeah.
is something, this is a social media platform that they can go to, so they can reach out to people like you guys, like us.
Yeah, and so that's why we want this show to be helpful for our viewers in so many different ways. One is, educationally, but then we also want to provide them opportunities, which is part of what this opportunity of the week is. And then for today, I believe it's a potential deal that Cliff has going on. Do you want to talk about that fix and flip?
Yeah, sure. So this deal we did in I want to say the end of 2023. I sold this property in March of 2024. So we had like a little under a 4 month window. We aimed for 90, but we ended up finishing it a little before 120 days. And basically Eddie and I worked on it together. He was the general contractor, and pretty much before you make a purchase, you want to do your due diligence as a buyer. And what I mean by that is pretty much, looking at the price, looking at the renovation, going there with a contractor so you know how much the renovation costs are going to be. And then, looking for the ARV. Now, me, I'm a realtor, so I already have the experience to look at comps so that I can make sense of the deal and figure out what the after repair value is. That's what ARV
Okay, I was
stands
gonna
for.
ask that for people who doesn't know what an ARV is. It's after repair value. So when you buy a house and you need to fix it, there's a purchase price for it, and then after you fix it, the ARV would come out. So that's what Cliff was talking about when he mentioned ARV. Go ahead, Cliff.
I appreciate that. Yeah. So I'll just go by the PowerPoint. So, step one is just, finding the deal, putting an offer in based on the renovation costs. As we spoke, the after repair value, you make your offer based on that. And then you want to find either a private money lender or a hard money lender. And these people, what they'll do is they'll fund the deal for you. Most lenders that I work with, they fund the renovation deal 100%. Depending on your experience, that's what will determine the interest rate. So credit also is a factor, but it's not as factored as much as a regular transactional lender. So now when you close and you begin the renovation, you definitely want to have a game plan with your contractor. The first order of business is getting permits, getting these approved. And then once you get the permits approved, then you have to have plans of what you're going to do. And then you hire people accordingly. The contractor is pretty much going to generate all of that, communicating with the plumbers and the electricians so that you can actually navigate through it smoothly. Because the plumbing and the electrician, I like to say the plumbing is like the veins of the property and the electrical is like the arteries. So these people are very important. So before you start closing up walls, you got to make sure things are in order. And then the inspectors sign off on things so that you can move smoothly through the project.
Mhm.
So once you get done with the project, the time is of the essence. And remember, time is literally money, because now you're invested with hard money and they're charging you every month until you get that property sold. So it's important that you coordinate with the contractor, pretty well and communicate so that when you're done, you put it on the market, you have it nicely staged, you hire a realtor that you trust. And then once you get it sold, you pay off the lender, and then whatever profits you walk away from, that's what you get with the project. So yeah, so putting the home on the market is essential. You want to make sure it's priced correctly. Hooking up with a realtor, a professional, will help you determine that. Make sure you get comps, descriptive data to justify the pricing so that the house can move accordingly on the market. So step 7, this is an important step. The property is sold. Everybody makes money, yay. But you want to make sure you have a CPA, which is a certified public accountant, because you want to keep track of everything that you spent receipts, because you do make profits, but you're going to have to pay the government a certain percentage. So that's going to be based on what you made, your profits and loss. So that's very important to have a CPA that's on your side that will help you navigate through that. It's important to invest in a QuickBooks so that you can keep a record of all the expenses you made, so that once the income is recorded, now you can, put that towards the expenses so that you can, work out with your CPA, so that the government, you give the government what you're supposed to, but if you're spending money, you want to record that as well, because if you show that you have just gains and no losses, then the government is going to say, okay, well, you owe X amount and you're going to have to pay. So that's why it's important to have like a good bookkeeper and to keep track, because these materials, things add up. All these things add up, and you need to account for that. And your accountant needs to know that you spent that money versus what you made, so that you could have a fair, amount of income, and then you pay what you're supposed to pay to the government as well.
Exactly.
Was Eddie involved in this one at all?
Yes, Eddie was involved in it. Eddie was actually the general contractor, and he coordinated the entire transaction.
What was that like? What was that like working on this one, Eddie? Remember it?
It was pretty smooth. We had a few hiccups. We, as a contractor in this field, we always expect, some kind of, you never know. It's dealing with older houses, existing. You don't know what you're gonna find when you open up walls. So this one was, we did have some hiccups, but we solved them pretty quickly, which is why, we didn't really meet the 90-day mark, but it wasn't too bad. Overall it went well. The permitting, of course, the inspectors, I know them in Brockton. I pull a lot of permits here, so the inspections. So the phases that we go through while we're doing the renovations. So like Cliff mentioned, we pulled the building permit, then the electrical permit is pulled, plumber permit is pulled, and then we get to work. Once the roof is finished, so we'll, the electricians finish wiring the house, the plumber finish, running his piping for all the fixtures. Then we get another inspection for all three. So we'll have an inspection for electrical, for plumbing, and then I'll do my building inspection where they check if we did any framing, they'll check the new framing, and then they'll check the insulation. And then once that's all set, then we're ready to close the walls and then start, finishing the house, doing paint, the floors, and putting all the finished fixtures. So that's pretty much the process. And then once that's all the fixtures are in, we get one more final inspection from, again, all three inspectors. We get a sign off, and Cliff takes over from there as far as doing his thing with putting it on the market.
That's great. That's great to know. So, a lot of people might be, because fix and flip, they have a lot of TV shows about it, and it looks very exciting, right? But in reality, you buy ugly houses and then you fix it and then you sell it for profit. So when we're talking about profit, our viewers might want to know, how much profit do you really get when you fix and flip a property? Again, it depends on the state. It depends on on how much the property is when you sold it. But typically, how much would someone get from a fix and flip, like the lower or the higher ranges?
So every project is situational. So that particular project, I brought that property for $250,000. The renovation cost I projected 80,000, but it ended up really being around 95K, probably a little bit more if we put the cost of materials. But at the end of the day, I ended up selling it for $490,000. So with the money I walked away with, I actually walked away with about 90K on it. Okay.
There you go. That's a great profit.
So
Yeah,
that's a great profit, but again, you want to be in contact with your public accountant because you want to make sure that capital gains, things of that nature that you need to pay the government, that they're getting their share, and you want to make sure that you record the amount of money that you spent versus because I'll give you an example. What if I ended up spending? We looked at all the numbers and it came out to 102,000. Now that
hmm
90K could really be 80K of profit because you have to take away the money that you actually spent. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly,
that's why it's
exactly.
very important to connect with an accountant so that they can get the numbers right, so that your money is right, and then you're doing what you're doing with the government, and you're not getting in trouble, and you're doing everything by the book.
Yeah, but that's just one flip. Some people, like a lot of people, like me included before, 90K is like a year's salary already. But you gain that, you earn that within a few months, which is great, right? So you do flips here and there. So this is like it could be lucrative if you do it multiple times. Obviously, connecting with a good contractor and lender would be a huge part, but it's something that, can be done. And 90K is 90K. Obviously, we have to pay our taxes, our debt and everything, but that's a good profit. Congratulations on that one. Amazing.
Thank you, and it's all about connecting with the right people, and you work with people like and trust, and
Mhm.
everybody works as a team. Because at the end of the day, the faster you can finish the project, the more money everybody's going to make. I like to incentivize my contractors too, and I like to give, I try to give a shorter day window because I want them to reach that goal. And even though we
Mhm.
went a little bit over 90 days, it was okay. We did everything right because that project, the walls, I mean, Eddie did a lot of work because we had to open up and pretty much renovate everything from the inside. I mean, everything was
Mhm.
taken down to the studs. So normally a contractor would have taken about 6 months to do that, and we did
Mhm.
it in 4. So
Yeah,
that was progress for me.
exactly. I have one that's been taking more than like a year or so now. So enough of that. But yeah, thank you for that's great information for our viewers that, if they want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, and my website is www.securerealtyma.com. My cell phone, my phone's always on. You can call me 617-592-5086. Look me up online, Secure Realty Investments. You could also find me on Zillow too. So I'm online. You can find me.
All right, perfect. That's great. How about you, Eddie?
Yeah, so I have a website, trustconstructionllc.com. You can get more info on my company there. It is fairly new, so I don't really have reviews. I go based, on referrals. A lot of people, that I work with, will refer, that's most of my clients, it's referrals. But you can reach me also at 781-975-2660. Usually I pick up, but I definitely will get back to you within 24 hours. Um, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, so you guys can look me up there too.
All right, perfect, great. Do you have anything to ask? I have so many things to ask them, but I want to go give it to you, John.
Yeah. I don't know how much longer we have here,
Mhm.
but I did have a few questions for both Cliff and Eddie, if it's okay with you, Celeste.
Yeah,
I'll
no
just ask
problem. Go ahead.
one. I remember you talking about how you were involved with the permitting process, and I
Mhm.
and I didn't know. I want to hear from Cliff and Eddie. Whether it's what your thoughts are on working with a local contractor who knows the people working for the city. In the building department, zoning, is working with an inspector who knows, or a contractor who knows those individuals, is that better for moving the process along, or
Um,
or can you just work with a hot shot who's really good at what he does, but he works all over the whole state, and he doesn't necessarily know the local officials.
um, I mean, yes and no. It's always good to be known if you're a local contractor and you're familiar with the inspectors there. I mean, the process is going to be pretty much the same. It might expedite it quicker because they already know who you are. But the biggest thing, even if you don't know the town, like you're working for the town for the first time, it's the paperwork. You have to make sure the paperwork that you pass in, like, all the requirements that they ask for are passed in and everything's correct. When they start giving you trouble, they see, there's paperwork not in order. So then now they start to question, like, is this contractor legit? And then they kind of pry more. Now they want more information, and they would, that would delay the process. Another reason why, delay the process would be, sometimes like Boston, or, they're just, they have so many people pulling permits, so it doesn't matter whether you know them or not. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks, especially in Boston. Every time I pull a permit in Boston, and I know some of the inspectors, it doesn't matter. It's just, they're like swamps. So you expect 2 to 3 weeks to get your permit. So, it varies from town to town, but the biggest thing is to, have your paperwork in order and make sure you check your mistakes so it doesn't cause any delays, So.
Following procedure and structure is important. I mean, in my experience, as knowing the real estate industry, as with most industries, it's kind of more about who you know a lot of times than what you know. And I've had instances where I was trying to get a deal done, and knowing the right person did actually expedite the process significantly. So I think it can. What's your experience with that, Cliff?
So my experience, I agree a lot with Eddie, because if you know someone, yes, it can get you in the door faster. But then again, sometimes you're in a big city like Boston, or if they're just overloaded, or there's somebody on vacation, you just have to wait. But when you're professional and you show them that you're ready to work and you have your things in order, that's going to help you in the long run, because they do remember people that do the right thing. And sometimes Eddie and I have been in a situation where we needed something signed and they couldn't get over right away, but because they knew it was Eddie, they're like, oh, okay, you're all set, you can close up the walls because I know you do good work. So
Reputation. Yeah.
reputation is everything. And one thing Eddie said that's 100% true: if you don't do the paperwork right, that's when they're going to start questioning you, and then that's when you're going to have problems. And you don't want to get into that. You want to do everything by the book. Sometimes it may take a little longer, but if you wait for them and they see that you're respectful, like, everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to be.
That's great. That's great to know. Yeah.
I've got more questions, but if Celeste, if you want to.
No, I don't have. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Well, this one's more for Eddie. I think actually both Eddie and Cliff. You talked about there being some hiccups on that fix and flip that you did, and I'm sure you're as an investor flipper, you're probably always running into different issues. Like it's not a real estate deal if there isn't some hurdle that you have to overcome, or some challenge or something that pops up unexpectedly. But I wanted to see if you could talk about what issues have you run into most commonly? What should a new investor look out for on their first fix and flip?
So, sorry, Eddie, you can go first.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the biggest thing that we run into is, like, we open up walls, and then especially with the older houses, and the framing is all wrong, or it's like rotted out, and we have to reframe a lot of things. So just when you're looking, it's hard, for an investor to come in, even as a contractor, to come in and kind of foresee these things. But I look at, like, if there's leaks in the roof, or like watermarks anywhere where they could possibly be rot, outside, if there's any holes, or like where water can get in, so then maybe you might expect that, hey, we might have to change some framing in here. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And then the other thing is just like, sometimes the communication is another thing that is really key. You get like plumbers and electricians, and if they're not on the same page, then you're ending up doing, things over. Like, the plumber might not take the carpenter into consideration, and he puts his plumbing a certain way where now you can't put your cabinets there where you're supposed to. Now you got to call him back to, or build another wall to hide, plumbing to make the cabinets right. So it's very important that all, the electrician, the plumber, the carpenters kind of coordinate with each other, and you have a layout and everybody follows it, so that you're not, pedaling back, on certain things that were already finished, so that's another thing. That's actually a big thing, that it's simple. It's really communication. That it's crazy how many times I hear, like, from clients, how, like, they complain about their contract and not communicating anything, and I feel like that's the most simple thing. You pick up a phone, a text, or whatever. Hey, this is what's going on. Like, make sure this is happening. Communication is the biggest thing. If you're not communicating, it's going to cause delays, and unnecessary delays, and it's just unnecessary. Like,
Yeah.
it's just simple as just communication, and I think that's why me and Cliff work together so well, because there's always a dialogue every day. There's, even if I can't pick up right away, we're texting each other. Cliff always knows what's going on, even if he's not on site. He knows what's going on, and then next steps. So I think that's, the reason why, things pretty much run smooth with us. So.
So in any relationship, may it be personal or business, communication is key. Everyone needs to know, So yeah, that's good. That's good. So
Yeah.
personal and business communication really is key,
Yeah.
obviously. Um,
Yeah.
do you have another question, John? I just have one question that I want to ask with the both of you.
Yeah,
I guess more so.
I'll let you go. I have to get going. I have another appointment I have to get to.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, it
thank
was
you
nice
so much.
having you. I
Yeah, it was
can't wait
great
to
being
see you
here.
again, do
Yeah,
this
and it
again
was
with
so
you.
good getting to talk to you and meet all of you. So thank
Likewise,
you as
John.
well. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks,
Yeah, so
John.
if you don't
Appreciate
mind
your
staying a
time.
few more minutes, Cliff and Eddie, I just have a few more
Yeah.
questions I want to ask you before you leave. That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
fine.
So if someone wants to start to fix and flip, let's say I bought a property. I'm not an investor. I'm just a local person who bought a property, and I want to fix it. And so I'm going to get a loan to fix it up. So I don't know any contractor. So what is it that you look for, Cliff, in a contractor for them to bid on the property?
So with a contractor, I'm looking for transparency. I'm looking for honesty, and it's always good to get three different quotes too. Just like when you're, going to buy something, you always want to get two or three different opinions. And you can tell right off the bat how someone's going to be just by the first appointment. If they're late to the appointment or if they don't make the appointment, I'll fire them right there on the spot. One thing I like about working with Eddie, it's like we're no nonsense people and we take pride in the work that we do. So if me and him have an appointment at 12:30, we're there at 12:30. If we're gonna run late, like, hey, I'm down the road. We value each other's time, and a lot of times right now we're both doing multiple projects. And me as being the homeowner and him being the contracting supervisor, because general contractors, that's what they are, construction supervisor.
Yeah.
So we pretty much back each other up. There's days he's in there. He may be at another project. Sometimes there may be something going on and that he don't know about, and I'm there and I'll say, hey, did you hear about so and so? Like one day the electrician called me and said, hey, are you sure you want to put this there? And then we just had a quick conference call, and then you know we solved the problem. I mean, it was quick, but if I wasn't picking up my phone or if Eddie wasn't picking up the phone, now we could have had a big problem, because if the electrician put something where it's not supposed to be, now it's going to be a big problem to remove it, and it's going to be costly and cost more time. So communication is definitely a very important thing. So you want to hire someone that knows how to communicate, someone that's going to be there, be prompt. Just look for those qualities in a contractor, and if you can, look them online. If they don't have an online presence, definitely talk to people you know and trust so that you can get a good reference.
Okay, so this platform is one of the things that, when they search Eddie or when they search you, they can find this online and you're visible one way or another, right? So that's why I like this platform because we can have visibility even on Facebook or Instagram. And I think we're gonna put it on YouTube too in the near future. So that's great. With regards to the lender, Cliff, um, once you present it to them, the contractor has a huge part when you're asking for money for to fund your property, or that has nothing to do as long as they get whatever return that they want from the
So
property.
the lender plays a major part, and it's the same thing with the lender. You want to make sure that you trust them and they have good reviews.
Mhm.
So basically, you want to make sure that the lender is funding 100% of the project. Sometimes they may want some money up front, depending on your experience.
Yeah.
So, I have a portfolio of flips that I've done before. So, and I have relationship with lenders. So I may get a rate that may be different from someone that's just starting out.
Mhm.
So it's pertinent to definitely interview the hard money lender or private lender, whoever you decide, but make sure they're funding 100% of the deal, because again, you're gonna budget. Let's say you budget 80,000. That project I budgeted 80,000, but it ended up being more because once we opened up walls, we saw there were problems. There were rots, things that we had to replace. So it's always important to have a little bit more than you plan on spending, because once you start opening up walls, there's always going to be issues. We have to manage, as a construction supervisor, Eddie has to manage the crew that's working as well. And sometimes we have to replace people because they say they're going to show up, things happen, people got hurt. I mean, we doing a project, someone got hurt, and we had to replace the painter. And these are things that happen every day. And we have to be able to manage and be aware of what's going on so that we could say, all right, well, let's hire the next guy to do it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's great. So having the right contractor, obviously the lender to fund the deal is really a huge part. So yeah, that's amazing. So when you buy a property, are you only buying in the Brockton area or anywhere that has a population of, I don't know. So when you pick and choose a property, obviously you have like your own niche, like where your market is at. So right now, what are you looking for? Let's say I have someone that has a property they want to stay, they want to sell. Um, what locations are you looking for?
So mainly I do a lot of my fix and flips in the South Shore area, but I'm open to going anywhere, really in Massachusetts that's, an hour or less away. If I could get my contractor there, I'm definitely open to it, but mainly I focus on South Shore. I have been expanding a bit. I do have a partner that's been doing deals with me out of state. So I've been, venturing out to out of state properties as well. But the biggest thing is the numbers. The numbers have to make sense, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so it's very important to, if you're first time investor and you're just getting into it, you're getting your feet wet, you want to connect with a realtor that's investor friendly, because there's a lot of realtors and agents out there, but you want to make sure that they have investor experience so that they can actually be able to explain to you how the process works.
Exactly, exactly. That's key as well. Yeah, perfect. So I don't know how much time you have more, but I think that's all the questions that I have for right now. Definitely would love to be to partner with you and Eddie on flips. I haven't done a flip on my own, just with a partner, but I'm looking into it. So this is a, but then again, I want to hire experts because that's something that's just gonna go over my head. I can find you the right property, and then you guys can just like flip it for me.
Listen,
I'm more of
find
a
find
buy
us the
and holder.
property, find us the
Huh?
property, and we'll take care of the rest.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually trying to transition. So I'm putting up residential assisted living. I'm trying to, and if you guys are familiar on the codes on everything on how to transition that single family home into a residential family home, so that's what I'm trying to do in a few months, hopefully by end of the first quarter next year. It's so exciting, so that's why I was like, I need contractors, I need lenders, I need, that's why this platform for me is gold, because
Mm.
people can come to me and I could go to other people, we can both reach out to each other, so it's amazing. Yeah.
That's good.
So I think this is going to be it for us. Again, my name is Celeste. You can find me my Instagram handle is Cashflow Mama, if you can believe it. And you can
Okay.
find me on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Celeste Samonte, and I have a YouTube channel, Celeste Samonte, as well. Eddie, can you shout out your page again so that they can know where to find you?
So yeah, you can find me at trustconstructionllc.com or on Facebook, just Eddie Cornet, and Instagram, same thing, Elite Trust Construction.
All right, perfect. How about you, Cliff?
So my company website is www.securerealtyma.com. I'm also on Facebook, and my email is chsecurerealty@gmail.com. So you could find me, and then my phone number is 617-592-5086.
Perfect. So if anyone wants to do a fix and flip or have any questions with regards to construction or finding a deal to fix and flip, feel free to reach out to us, to Cliff or Eddie or myself, or just shout out on this, make a comment on this YouTube video, Facebook Live. All right. So again, I would love to have you guys come again and present another project. Maybe you're doing something else. This to me is very exciting. I love real estate. I love talking about real estate. And you flipping a property, you're not the only one that profited, Cliff. Eddie profited, his workers profited. So a lot of people, even you having that earning $90,000, a lot of people, it trickled down to all of the people that you work with. So you're not just the only benefactor of that flip. A lot of people did. So that's what I love about real estate, because a lot of people can benefit from it. So yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, definitely a team effort. And again,
Exactly.
work with someone you know, like, and trust, and your network is your net worth. So take care of each other and things will work out.
Definitely. That's amazing. So yeah, we'll just see here. I don't have a co-host anymore, and I
Yeah, I have to get going to the next meeting. But
me too. I have to get going as well.
Thank you for having me, and it was great, educating and talking to you guys. And definitely we can, talk again in the future.
Yes,
Definitely. So if I'm gonna put up a meetup, and I would love for you guys to be there and join me for that. We're gonna have a lot of people like you, like me, who are investors in the real estate field. So I'll put a shout out there once I have it all set up. Again,
Please
thank
do.
you so much for coming in, and we'll see you again.
All right. Thanks.
All right.